This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms at 323Reid, and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323Reid. That's 323REID.
That was making me hard all over again, just thinking about the rat beef.
Oh, God, okay, wow.
That shit was so, Brad. Remember,
I hadn't even hit end recording yet.
Super. Come on.
Please don't air that. Please don't air that.
We'll make that an intro.
Yeah, use that as a little soundbite for the intro tease. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 323. I am your host, Reid Murphy. It is hot. It's hot out there, folks. Oh my God. Been trying to cool up. Yo, shout out to Dove. This thing has been, that deodorant has been handy. People were funky, but I wasn't. This has been nice.
Excellent.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to the show. Thank you all for listening, watching, doing whatever you do to support the show. As you always do, we're happy to have you. We're happy to entertain you and happy to do it tonight with two wonderful people. And this is a treat to have you guys on like a I think the only other time we've had you both on at the same time was the hip hop. Well, no, we've had one in person and then the hip hop 50 big round table. Yeah.
That's right.
So we got Mr. B himself, Travis Bryam, is here tonight, and our golf expert, our expert in everything. Actually, our expert in just like Sour Patch Kids, Red, White, and Blue Sour Patch Kids, and,
telling you, man.
Hey.
Got him on deck.
And mysterious hauntings all around him. Bradley Harrison is here tonight. He's actually, you've infested the show with ghosts now because Travis has something plaguing him around there. I'm sure something is around me. So, I don't. Thanks.
We're in the spirit, and we have spirits.
That's right. Hey, and speaking of the spirit, a little navel gazing, a little congratulations to ourselves and all of the wonderful people that have been a part of this show. We just recently and quietly, because I didn't even notice it until like today, have celebrated the 4th anniversary of the 323. 4 years on the air.
Oh,
nice. Congrats.
Wow. Congrats, Reid.
Somehow. Thank you. Somehow we have made it 4 years in. Thank you to everybody that has supported the show. Thank you to everybody that follows and subscribes, does all the things. You know, the ratings go up like every month now. Shout out to the Guy Lawson interview. That was great. And mostly nothing but love to you two, all of the regulars on the show, Scott, Zoo, Luis, everybody that has contributed something to this show. Thank you so much for getting us here. And season 4 is coming in August. This is the nice summer period where we're kind of relaxed and testing things out for when we launch back in like late August. We'll take a little break before then, but part of how we're testing things out, we're introducing some newer friends in a couple of weeks that'll hopefully be around more during season 4, but we're also doing things like this, the Potluck, the 323 Potluck. It was a big hit when we did it a couple of weeks ago with Scott and Zoo. It's very fun, can get very weird. We wound up doing, just so you two know, we wound up doing like an ethnic cleansing of food on the last Potluck. Just happened to happen. Unfortunate shout out to the Germans. They got eliminated. I don't know. We'll see.
Schnitzel. Come on, man. Pretzels, the beer. Oh, damn.
That was the thing we were just talking about. It's just a heavy food. It's a heavy food on your tummy.
Yeah,
it's not
very
bad.
Savory.
Yeah, not bad, but it's a little heavy. So we're gonna do the Potluck again tonight with Travis and Brad. We've got some great topics to get into. Afterward, of course, we're going to have the annual Travis review. Travis will review something for us, and we'll get into a little bit of golf with Brad, since we know that is it's either golf or cologne that we get into with Brad. So
that's good. That's the guy.
We'll knock something out. But the way the Potluck works, if you haven't checked it out before, each person on the panel just brings a topic. We bring something to talk about, just like you would at a potluck dinner. You bring something to eat, and we will all bring a topic and we'll all discuss. We'll all pick each other's brains on it and figure out how we got there. I'll kick it off if you two don't mind. You two devilishly handsome gentlemen. We have the perfect timing, honestly, because I'm happy to have you guys on here. I didn't mean to talk about media. There's plenty of stuff that's happening in sports, kind of slow period. Shout out to the Celtics, I guess, for winning the NBA Finals. Happy for the players. I don't care about the most entitled fan base in the history of sports in Boston. People, being all just sad. They had a 5-year drought in winning sports championships. Go fuck yourself. I haven't had happiness in years. So
Cleveland and Washington, it's tough times.
God, here, yeah, it's bad. So I'll take mine to media, and it's good time. Travis, Brad, always great media experts, and I want to talk about TV. I've had a lot of time to watch some good TV over the past few months, and look, I will say that the list that I'm going to do are the top 5 TV shows of 2024, according to me.
Ooh.
If you go to the social medias at 323 Reid, at 323 REID, you'd already have this top 5. Now you're just getting a little bit of analysis to go with it. And it's awesome graphics on there. Go subscribe, go check it out, go follow us. But I would also make an argument, and I want to ask you guys here before I get into it. The way that TV is set up now, right, with streaming and how many shows, how many streaming apps and networks there are to follow. If a show comes out in like 2023, like mid 2023, but you're catching up on everything else by then because life is busy, there's panic attacks, everything is just getting to us. Yeah. Can you consider it a show of 2024 if you literally did not have time to get to it till 2024 and the seasons are separated by years? Can I consider like a season of The Boys from last year, of something for a 2024 show?
Good question.
That's tough, man, because I'm kind of a stickler. I like having that start date New Year's Day, end date New Year's Eve. But Reid, you're a busy man. You're a man of many hats. Ironically, not wearing a hat right now, but you usually have many hats on. Oh, he's getting the hat.
Come on.
Look at everybody.
Let's go. Where's your hat, Travis? Come on.
I'll edit a hat onto him.
There you go. Oh,
hey, that's
it to me.
That's a fresh wood right there.
It's actually nice.
You got the lavender color. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, man. I'd say count it. I love The Boys, so I'm also going to be very partial to that. I'd say go for it, man.
No, I use The Boys as just like a loose example because I had never watched the show before the past week. So I just finally started watching The Boys, and I'm in love with this show. It's some of the darkest humor I've ever seen.
Insane. And for you to binge all of it at once, that's so much to take in, Reid.
Sort of. I've been doing better with my binging now. I've gone through some movies 20 minutes at a time over the course of a few days. And the boys I'm watching like an episode a night, and it's been incredibly enjoyable, and I don't know how I'm so late to this, but Boys has been awesome. I did not actually consider it, but while we say this too, you say you're a stickler for the year-to-year thing, right? How do you feel about the kind of course that TV has taken with streaming and premiere television to where House of the Dragon season 2 just premiered the other night? The show had been off, I think, for 2 or so years, and Game of Thrones was kind of regular about this, where it would take a couple of years to get the show because of such a high production value. TV has gotten to such a high production level now that it takes multiple years to film a season, and you're kind of you get stuck with an 8 to 10 episode season with 2 or 3 years in between. Does this work for you? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have the year to year, it's on time every single year, barring some type of writer strike or not?
Oh, true. We got to consider that as well. Yeah, man. What was so revolutionary when I was back in high school and Orange is the New Black came out on Netflix streaming, and you got all the episodes at once. At the time, we've taken it for granted so much in the past 11 years. Now we just, binge a season over a weekend. But it was so exciting to go right after a cliffhanger to go into the next episode. So here's my personal opinion. Maybe this isn't, I don't know anything about TV production. I also don't know anything about Game of Thrones. I know those episodes must cost millions of dollars. Probably film schedules for, one episode, right? But I think that one of the greatest benefits of streaming is the ability to be able to have it out there and binge it. So if you're going to make us wait, how long has it been? I saw that on Max today. How long has it been since the last House of the Dragon?
I want to say it's been about 2 years at least.
If it's been 2 years, I want to have all those episodes available right then. You know what I mean?
Catalog.
That's just me. But yeah, I think the best example of this killing the momentum of the show is Stranger Things. And that also overlaps with the fact that the kids now, look like they could be my boss. Like they've they've gone from, like acne to like, supervising your shift. So I really think that they the first couple of years they were cranking them out, and then as the show got bigger, they just needed more and more time, and I'm sure the strikes hit that too. So yeah, I'm all about. I think you should strike while the iron's hot because I don't hear much talk about Stranger Things these days.
Because it's a very fast-paced and competitive market. I personally don't honestly why I don't have a single streaming service. I know Travis is shaking your head though. I mean,
people love you. Oh my goodness, that's huge.
I don't have cable. I don't even have that. I literally all my entertainment comes from that little red play button on my phone, basically. YouTube, and not even the premium, just regular old YouTube. So it's kind of a foreign concept to me a little bit. This whole because isn't it where different Disney Plus, you said Max, there's HBO, there's Netflix, they all have different shows that they're known for, but there's not one platform per se, even Peacock or whatever that has all of them in one place. You kind of have to, you're almost forced into having multiple streaming platforms to watch the shows that you want, which is such a diversion from when it was only cable back in the day. Channel surfing, you had my favorites like Animal Planet, the Discovery Channel, all those classic ones where everyone knew about it, and those TV shows that would just have people talking the next morning because everyone had access to it. It wasn't it's so divided nowadays, and I feel like the viewership might be down across the board because you don't really get those big mega shows except for those Game of Thrones, those ones that kind of sweep the nation just because there's so much content saturation out there. To give you the last 3 shows that I remember actually watching was The Alienist. You guys know what that is, on TNT way back in the day. This was probably when I was still living in my parents' house. I was 18 or 19 years old maybe, and it was just if you guys know what that is, it's a serial murder rapist kind of dark shit. But I love the way that it was shot. It had some of the best cinematography that I've ever seen in a TV show, and that was really I was almost just watching it more for that because the scenes just looked so cool and moody and great acting. And then Big Mouth, a completely different thing in college, right? A little bit childish and a little immature, but it was funny in certain ways and it had its moments. And then honestly, Hell's Kitchen too. I've seen a lot of seasons of Hell's Kitchen.
Yes.
Gordon Ramsay, just completely going ape on these poor chefs trying to just trying to make it. Very entertaining in its kind of crazy way. But those are really the only 3 that come to mind when I think of shows. And I've not even watched one since 2020 probably. So I'm so behind the times. Just YouTube for me, and it doesn't really run on that same structure of seasons. It's more or episodes. It's just as people create content. But
so closing the loop on a couple of things, Brad, I asked if there was any type, pretty much you do have to go app to app to app to find what it is that you want, and it gets a little exhausting. Now, This year, there have been a couple of competing bundles that have been announced. Comcast announced, according to NPR, that it plans to offer a new streaming bundle with Peacock, Netflix, and Apple TV Plus. And then Discovery announced in May that they would start offering a bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max all together. So we're getting close to what was once a revolutionizing of cable to a new form of cable. Now that ads are in these things, I didn't know that when I was watching The Boys on Amazon that there were going to be ads during it. I remembered when I was watching Fallout that there were very specific breaks. Like it played all the way through, no ads during, just a couple ads beforehand, but it felt like you could see where there are moments being broken in for ads. I know that's happening on Disney Plus now with their shows, Netflix and their shows, which is kind of annoying because that was the gold, the beauty, the standard of these new streaming platforms, is that it would be commercial free. This is, you're paying a premium for something like this. Now you have to pay more to get that. And it'll be bundled, and it'll probably have a bunch of other apps and platforms and shit in there that you don't care about. I don't care about Roku TV. I don't need that. I'm good on that. Closing the other loop, House of the Dragon season 1 was August 2022. That's when the last episode of that season was in October 2022. So a little under 2 years for them. So good for them. But I completely understand what you mean about like Stranger Things. It's a show I love. Season 4 was incredible. And I think one of the best season they've had since the first. But it's a show that like whenever it comes back on, I'm not like, it's been off for so long.
Right. It's like, oh.
Right. And it takes me a little bit to like get myself excited to jump back in.
Yes.
Like I'm not watching it that weekend immediately. Like I was like, okay, we've been away from each other for a while.
Yeah.
Let's
now you're back in my life.
You're back in my life now. What are we doing? I got other things that are happening. This happened the worst, I think, with Atlanta on FX.
Oh, great example.
Donald Glover's Atlanta was like a huge phenom of a show. Like the first season was incredible, and it had a little bit of a wait between season 1 and season 2, which I think was fine. This first season was so incredible and such a huge cultural phenomenon that people were hyped for season 2. Season 2 came out, huge, same kind of thing, might be even better than the first season. And then it's like, I'd want to say 3 to 4 years before season 3 came out. I'm jumping off of a cliffhanger in season 2, and the momentum just kind of died. And like the talk, the chatter of it, the culture of it, the ratings behind it, the Emmys for it, like they weren't there anymore for the final 2 seasons. Even the last season, like I enjoyed the last season. I didn't watch it all at once. I pretty much watched it after the show had aired and didn't even hear anything. I had no spoilers. Nothing came to me. So it just kind of depends on the momentum of these shows. And I think the same thing, the opposite is for The Bear. The Bear on FX has kind of the opposite approach. I love it. Comes out every June. It's been on every single June like that. Writer's strike comes in. Acting strike comes in. Fuck it. Still coming out in June. Right on time. And we're going to give you all the episodes at once.
No matter what.
I love it. That's what I love.
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. So,
yeah, chef. There you go. Nice little Hell's Kitchen reference in there. Yeah. Oh my God.
So that's what I'm loving now with, and I'm sure The Bear season 3 is about to start at the end of the month. That's probably going to get on my list here for the top 5 TV shows of 2024, but it's not out yet, so we got to give other things a chance. So let's launch right in here with my top 5 TV shows of 2024.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the 323's Top 5.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
And with the production value.
Oh, it's up. Oh, it's up as we're going into season 4.
Awesome.
So, the top 5 TV shows of 2024, according to me, Reid Murphy. Pretty easy. Okay, so I've had time to get into shows. Now I just get confused, like I said, on what is a 2024 show and what's something that I'm just severely behind on. These 5 shows I know are from 2024. I know rank in whatever my ultimate top 5 would be. I'm very confident in this list no matter what. So I'm starting here at number 5. Number 5, where the hell did my list go? Damn it, Travis. I blame you. Somehow, some way. Number 5 comes from courtesy of Netflix, and actually like one of the most recent binges I've had. I binged the show pretty much in 2 nights, fell in love with it a little bit. It was also very haunting, kind of traumatic, but I just couldn't stop watching it, and it also helped that they were only about 28 minutes per episode. I can fuck up a 28-minute episode. Give me an hour episode, it's a little tougher. I don't know why. I can watch a 2.5-hour movie. I can't watch 2 episodes of an hour show. It's a weird opposite that I have with other people. But Baby Reindeer on Netflix.
Yes.
Baby Reindeer is a semi-autobiographical show. A little controversial, exactly, on how true much of the story is. But it was a very haunting tale of... And it was a dramedy, but still haunting and kind of the themes that it explored with stalking. And this kind of struggling comedian in the UK being stalked by a very lonely, pretty sad, but, unstable and kind of loosely, somewhat psychopathic stalker. And the performances on the show were fantastic. It dove into elements, and I don't want to spoil any of it for people, but dives into elements that I did not expect it to explore. Gets incredibly deep in those moments, and I think just explores kind of a feeling that anybody can have of how far some people are willing to go for attention. Or how far they're willing to go if they just feel loved and feel appreciated by just a small gesture, and how far you'll take that. And also just in feeling bad for somebody and having what are the limits to empathy and sympathy. And I love how the show explored this. The drama surrounding it now as the some of the potential real life people are bringing up some questions for the show is interesting. But yeah, Baby Reindeer was a fantastic binge of a miniseries. I'm expecting it to have a lot of Emmy love this summer.
Reid, can I real quick? I hate to interject.
No, please do.
Since Brad, doesn't have the finger on the pulse of TV, I'm curious. When you say, could we turn this into a game? When you say the titles of these shows, could we have Brad try to describe what he thinks it's going to be about?
Yes.
That'd be fun. Okay.
Because I was trying to get to you before. I was like, Brad, what do you think Baby Reindeer is?
I thought it was like how Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer got his origin story. That's what I was initially thinking. But
this is my new favorite game. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Number four should be a little easier. Easier for him to guess, but we'll see how it goes. Number 4 for me, it was a huge hit on Disney Plus, X-Men 97.
I think I can get that one.
What's your guess here?
But the original like X-Men 97. I've not seen like the whole movies, the whole series, but is this like their origins, or is this like after the end of one of the movies?
Somewhat close.
Is it like Wanda, right? Isn't like a spinoff, like a TV or series spinoff based on the movie, or like WandaVision?
You're semi close. You're semi close. What it is, it was a nostalgia bait of a show. It was a sequel to the 90s animated series. It was a sequel to the animated X-Men, the animated series. Came on like Fox Saturday mornings. And it was like a huge zeitgeist for a lot of people. I wasn't particularly into X-Men, the animated series, when I was a kid. I was more of a Spider-Man, the animated series kind of guy. Yeah, 90s Spider-Man, where he's like screaming. He's sociopathic for Shocker! It's just like fucking runs through a wall to go kill this guy. It's crazy.
Wow.
X-Men 97 was I thought originally just going to be like nostalgia bait, right? You're just bringing people in, like, and the fans of that show were super excited. And I just wanted to check it out just because I was like, the animation looks cool. I'm kind of curious to how they translate a show that's still very much in its style, 90s, to today. And I was incredibly surprised, I think, as well as a lot of other people, just how incredibly well done and well written and how mature the show was. Even like just the different themes that it hit, because X-Men is a comic that's kind of known to be a political parallel. And I mean, even from this very start, it was known that the main protagonist, main antagonist, Professor X, Magneto, were kind of symbols for Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. And the show just deals with different types of things in terms of like stereotyping, immigrants, political actions, and authoritarianism. Like, it's crazy. And this show matured and grew up with its audience, and it treated its audience like grown-ups. Lots of really, really unique animation and awesome action pieces. Some incredible quotes. I was very pleasantly surprised by this show, and I could not wait week by week to watch it. And I was shocked to feel that way as somebody who's not a huge animation person and not big on animated shows that are out. This was really awesome to me, and I'm excited for season 2. I guess it'll be X-Men 98. I don't know how to do it.
Next year, yeah.
Number 3 for me, Brad, you can give us the plot synopsis here. From Amazon, Fallout.
Ooh. Okay, so immediately my mind goes to a desolate post-nuclear warfare type of situation. Like, that's a video game, right? I don't play much video games either, but the Fallout video game series, right? Maybe it's a TV show spin-off off of that. We're talking like crazy, almost like a zombie apocalypse. People who have like nuclear, maybe a little bit of Walking Dead thrown in there. People trying to like Mad Max kind of survival a little bit. It's like a fusion between Walking Dead and Mad Max is what I think.
Okay.
With a Romeo and Juliet romance thrown in there as well, just for good measure.
Wow.
Wow.
Good job, Brad. You got it.
Done.
That's what it is. It's the adaptation of the video game, kind of loose adaptation of the video games, in that world. And yeah, he hit all the notes. Like, it's following a post-nuclear, war, desolate world with a little bit of romance thrown in there. Kind of cool Western gunslinger side plot going on with the main villain. Walton Goggins plays that character, the Ghoul. And Walton Goggins, if you don't know him, you've definitely seen him. Dude is one of the most underrated, funniest, best character actors out there right now. Righteous Gemstones, The Hateful Eight. Dude is fantastic, Justified. And still delivering in this show, even under a shit ton of makeup and CGI. This show it surprised me. I was interested in it because, side note, I have a deep kind of fascination and fear of nuclear war, and I will fall down spirals when I think about like a nuclear bomb. Like Oppenheimer fascinated the shit out of me.
Wow.
I'm yes. I will
I never knew this.
I know exactly what the radius of a nuclear bomb is. If it were to hit like DC, I know how far the radiation goes. I've looked at the maps.
Wow.
Researched it.
Yeah, so Fallout was very interesting to me. I thought the humor on it was fantastic. And it just builds this whole world. I'm excited for the next season, but it's one of those shows that we were just talking about. It's a huge production level. Have no idea when the next season will actually come out. I would love it if it came out next year. I don't know if I'm going to be as excited for it in 2 years or 3 years, but we'll see. So that's number 3 for me. Number 2 is a classic of a show that ended this year, had its final season. That is HBO's Curb Your Enthusiasm. Brad, any idea?
Give us something.
Oh boy, that's a tough one. So this is a long-running series, and this is its final season.
Yep, I believe it began in 1998.
I think it's something to do with maybe a comedian who is underappreciated by a lot of people, and he's kind of had to like go through the ranks, so to speak, and work his way up. And then there's like a dark twist in there. Like that's like what you think is going to happen. You know, you think, oh, it's going to be like a TV series about a comedian, but all of a sudden some like crazy side plot goes off, and then that's what the show actually is about. And it gets into some crazy stuff. I don't know.
Wow.
And then, yeah.
You started off really strong.
You started off super hot.
Now I'm super interested in that show that you described. I hope that's something that would be perfect for HBO. It is about a comedian. It's about Larry David, the creator of Seinfeld. Yeah, he's playing. He plays himself on the show. The show started as a 1-hour special in 1999 on HBO, and it's been going ever since. 12 seasons, and yeah. I mean, it's about Larry David, post Seinfeld, just kind of living his life as an asshole. He's the biggest asshole in the country. And he's just, every episode for 12 seasons, just bothering people. It just shows how he deals with things. He doesn't want to be bothered about things, and he will deal with things in the most, how he thinks that it should be, and how I think people relate to the show, and how they wish they could handle things. And kind of, sometimes politically incorrect ways to talk shit to people. And the show has had an incredible run of celebrity guest stars. It's had an incredible cast for a long time, with JB Smoove joining midway through and becoming a classic character, Susie Essman, Jeff Garlin. Like I said, plenty of fantastic guest stars like Michael J. Fox, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Richard Lewis. And the show finally ended. Larry David, who's, had the ability from HBO to do seasons every 4 years or whenever the hell he wants to, because the show has been just comedy gold. And this final season, the last couple of seasons since it came back from its 5 or 6 year hiatus, were a little, they were funny, but a little mid. This final season, I think, was as classic as it could be, with some of the most fuck it, this is the final season, just totally irreverent humor, ideas and topics that they dove into that nobody else would dare touch. And I mean the main overarching plot of the season, Larry's an asshole and just happened to hand water to a black woman in a voting line in Georgia, and he gets arrested for it, so he decides to use that to look like a political martyr when he really couldn't have given a shit less. He's just stubborn and decides to go through the whole trial process of it. And being the creator of Seinfeld, there was a lot of pressure on this final season with how Seinfeld's final season went, especially the final episode, notoriously called one of the worst series finales of all time. Even Larry and Jerry Seinfeld were not crazy about it. They decided to tackle that head on with the series finale, and almost like a recreation of the Seinfeld finale, just to be stubborn, and the shit somehow worked incredibly. One of the funniest series finales I've ever seen. And I highly recommend people to just check it out. You don't need to watch all the seasons to catch up on anything. The show is funny with or without it, and hits relatable stuff. Very sad to see it go. Curb is number 2. Number 1, though, also a HBO show, miniseries, The Sympathizer, is my number 1 show of 2020. Now, Brad, what do you think The Sympathizer is?
Now, I have not heard of this one at all.
This is
so
curious,
I don't know either.
Okay.
Well, I feel like besides the reindeer one, and these TV shows do a pretty good job of describing what they are in the title. The Sympathizer. To me, feels a little bit like it could be a war movie, or it could be a war TV series, or a political one, like a mind games, crime, trial, political kind of someone's got maybe put on false trial or something like that. They're accused of doing something wrong, they go to jail, now they're fighting the case. Or I think I'm gonna go with that one. Yeah.
What if I told you it was a little bit of both? The show is a little bit of both. It's a mini series from Park Chan-wook, who did different classic films like Old Boy. Old Boy is a popular one around this show and this network. And It is based on a novel that's semi-autobiographical and just semi-fiction too, a set post-Vietnam War, and follows a Vietnamese American citizen who is a spy. He was a spy for the North, entrenched in the troops of the South, and was a high-ranking captain in the South. And during the escape of the loss of the Vietnam War, somehow gets stuck in the U.S. and he gets stuck in America. So now he's still spying for the North on the South Vietnamese refugees and possible attacks, and spying on the U.S., trying to find his way back home to Vietnam, but also beginning to have an identity crisis as to who he really is and what side and what allegiance he really has. It's an incredibly well-acted series. It's beautifully shot with great direction. Park Chan was also one of the directors on a lot of it. Fantastic performance by the breakout star of it, Hoa Zwande is how I believe it's pronounced. He plays the captain. He's the lead on there. But the big takeaway, I think, from the show and what got the hype for it, didn't have huge ratings. Kind of surprised by it, but the big promotion around it was its producer and its co-star, Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. helped get the show brought to life, and in the show, he plays 5 different characters. He plays 5 different characters, all kind of representing the idea of a white man in 70s America, especially post-Vietnam and in like the political era. And he plays 5 different, very unique characters. Incredible performance by him. Great performance by Sandra Oh, too, who's also on it. I could not recommend the show more to people. I think it's only about 7 episodes and just tells a beautiful, semi-tragic story, but also incredibly entertaining. Lots of action, lots of notes on politics, notes on Hollywood, and adaptations of things like Vietnam for its, actual citizens. And I would love for people to check this show out. It has an actual really good sequel novel too that I would love for them to adapt. I don't know if they will based on the ratings and everything, but maybe the show becomes a hit later on. Still would love to see Emmy love for it. I know Robert Downey Jr. will get something from it, but I love the show. It has stuck with me ever since. The music has stuck with me ever since too. Go check it out. It's on Max. Full 7 episodes, hour each. Well worth your time. Very well worth your time. Those are my top 5 shows of 2024 so far. And I really do I think The Sympathizer will last. I think it'll stay on there for me. But I don't know. Any notes from you guys on your top shows of the year so far? Well, Brad can make up a show.
It's interesting that I think he's all of them, but 2 shows were from different platforms. I heard Amazon. I heard you said HBO. Like, it's just interesting to me that they all kind of have like a little different flavors from each. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thank you for turning me on to The Sympathizer. I can't believe with that gimmick too of RDJ playing so many characters like a la Peter Sellers, although I'm sure it's not comedic.
He gets between comedic and very serious and deadly.
Ooh, okay. I'm definitely gonna add that to the watch list now for sure.
You would love the style of it. Shot 70s like too. It's very, very incredible kind of show. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. Cool. Well, that's my meal thrown on the table here. We'll move to Travis. Travis, it's your turn to present us with a hot, tasty dish.
Similar, I do not have a top 5, unfortunately, for this potluck, but I just wanted to discuss kind of now as we're, oh my God, halfway through the year, basically.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Hard to believe.
I have not seen a ton of things in theaters, but I wanted to do a quick roundup and say my favorite thing I have seen in the movies this year in the cinema, and my least favorite thing that I have seen. So I'll just go down through the list in the chronological order that I've seen them. And anybody feel free to chime in. The first thing I saw was Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, I'm curious how that was.
That was really good. I was in Regal. It was me and like one other person. So it was that added to the atmosphere of getting creeped out. But coolest concept. I'll just read off the letterboxd here. A live broadcast of a late night talk show in 1977 goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms.
Wow.
Such an interesting concept. It's like if Johnny Carson had on like actual like demons on his show. It's super interesting, very left field. I was glad I could catch it before. I think it'll become a midnight staple.
The trailer for it fascinated me. I was fascinated by the little teaser trailer. There was like a little commercial kind of for a late night show in the 70s.
Yes. Dude, it is some of the best. I'm going to pull out a $12 college word that I paid all that money for. It's got great verisimilitude.
Whoa.
That's the word of the day. That's the word of the day. What does that mean? For those that don't know.
Verisimilitude. It's just an appearance of like trying to pass something off as reality when it's fiction. You know, kind of like how, like The Office. It's supposed to be, a documentary series about an office. But this really makes you feel like you're watching found footage from the 1970s on like your dad's old VHS tape. It's very cool.
I'm glad you explained it. I felt like Kevin Hart in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, where you're throwing out big words at me, and because I don't know what they mean, I'm going to take them as disrespect.
All right.
Then the next I saw was maybe my favorite lesbian revenge thriller of all time, Love Lies Bleeding, with Kristen Stewart and a newcomer, Katie O'Brien, who's a real only word I can think of is muscle mommy here. This is her on the cover.
Oh, let me see.
Muscular.
Yeah.
Yes. Swoon. And yeah, it's about kind of a drifter who comes into town and they get involved with each other, and then something goes real wrong, and they gotta fix it. And a lot of violence. There's a very strange kind of Hulk moment in there. I'll tease that. And it's Pride Month, everybody. So go rent it.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. Yeah.
Happy Pride Month, everyone. To all the muscle mommies out there, happy Pride. And then I saw Alex Garland's latest film, Civil War. This has been my favorite movie of the year so far. I kind of went in thinking, oh, red versus blue, whatever, political division. Really, it's a film essay about photojournalism and the responsibilities and the ethics of journalists these days. Surprisingly big hit when it came out. I think it's A24's first #1 movie at the box office, which is kind of crazy to imagine. But I was really happy with how successful it was. And then speaking of swooning, the sexiest movie of the year, Challengers. Reid, have you seen Challengers?
I have not seen Challengers. I haven't been sure if it was going to be a movie for me.
Oh, it's a movie for you. It's a movie for everybody.
Movie.
Anyone who finds Zendaya hot. And I haven't come across anyone who doesn't find her attractive. So it's just a tennis movie, and it's this woman who gets involved with these best friends, and they briefly become a sort of ménage à trois. And and then one of them gets married, and there's a lot of tennis. There's some Zendaya cheeks for those who want to know. It's pretty sensational.
God damn, menage a trois. I'm a man of many hats. He's a man of many words. My goodness. Brad's a man of many ghosts.
Many ghosts.
I haven't seen one yet back here. Hopefully.
And then here's where I get into all of the sequels and the remakes. I saw The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling. I wanted to support it just because it seemed like such a dumb, fun movie. And that's what it was. Just click your brain off. And it's kind of a love letter to stuntmen. Casting has just become, a category at the Oscars, Reid. And I'm hoping the year after that, they finally get an Oscars for stunts.
It's wild to me that there hasn't been. Between
We're
that
going
and
on.
just like overall choreography,
Right.
like those feel like they need to be there.
Yes. It's criminal it hasn't happened yet. So that was a love letter to that. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes with our pal Aaron.
Oh no, that's that meme that I've been seeing everywhere.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, that, I mean, I was really surprised to see that a lot of people were bored by this. It is a little long, but I mean, if this doesn't win Best Special Effects at this year's Oscars, I don't really know what we're doing anymore. It's phenomenal. There's a water scene and it's completely fake water. It's mind blowing. So, highly recommend that to fans of the series. I saw The Strangers Chapter 1, unfortunately, on a date that went horribly wrong. The movie and the date. So I can't recommend that to anybody for any reason. And then the most recent film I saw was Furiosa.
Nice.
I guess, fifth installment in the Mad Max franchise. And it's a little long in the tooth. And I did see it with probably a 7-month-old baby.
7-month-old. Okay.
Don't.
Is that what you just said? I'm pretty sure
I used up all my big words and now I'm sputtering out. Yeah. Don't bring your babies to go see Furiosa with enormous loud revving cars and titties and swear words. But maybe that colored how I saw the film, but Anya Taylor-Joy and her enormous owl eyes were great. Chris Hemsworth was having a really fun time as the bad guy. I want to see him as the bad guy more often. And it delivered on everything you'd want out of a Mad Max film. Just a little stretched out for my liking. But that's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at. I'd say my top has been Civil War, and at the bottom, at the very, very rock bottom, Strangers Chapter 1.
Anything that you've seen so far this year looking like it will be a Oscars contender?
I think the best chance, because I think she got so close to getting a nomination for Malcolm and Marie back in 2021. I think this might be Zendaya's Oscar year. Not that she'll win, but at least she'll get nominated for this. And I could see challengers maybe not becoming a super strong, because it's a real intense movie. Not for everybody, but I could definitely see it getting a Best Picture nomination, Best Original Screenplay, and definitely Best Score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Just a great 80s inspired synth score. It's there, right in their pocket.
Very interesting. I'm curious about some of these. I'm still thinking about that poor baby whose whole personality now is going to be Mad Max.
It's all Furiosa from here on out.
That baby's whole future, just everything is going to be Furiosa.
Well, when we have the eventual apocalypse, I mean, that baby's going to be rocking it out.
Reid, you clearly know.
Ready for it,
right? You know where to go, Reid. He's got the 323 bunker.
Yeah,
for Patreon members only.
That's right. We've been we're selling our 323 Bibles just like Trump, and we also have our bunkers for the end of the world. We're prepared.
That's right.
I'm curious. You haven't seen the one movie that I'd recommend that I didn't hear on that list so far is a Netflix film, Hitman, with Glenn Powell.
Yes,
Glenn Powell, and I'm drawing a blank on her name, but you're talking about like the beautiful women who are breakout stars so far this year. She was in this movie, Adira Arjona. She was one of the co-stars. She was the co-lead in that film. She was also on Andor. Both of them are awesome in that movie. That movie convinced me. I already liked Glenn Powell. I've liked Glenn Powell. I like to say I'm a hipster on Glenn Powell. I loved him when he was on Scream Queens on Fox. It was a Ryan Murphy dark drama comedy. He played Chad Masters, and
Of course, it would be Chad.
this movie convinced me that he can be a film superstar. That he's earned it. He played so many different roles. He was convincing in all of them, and just has so much charisma and charm to him. It makes me want to see that shitty movie, or what I assume is a shitty movie with Sydney Sweeney, That Anyone But You, just to see more Glenn Powell in it. But that movie was very, very fun. Richard Linklater, not his greatest, but a very fun film no matter what. And another movie that I haven't seen, but I saw the trailer for it, and I don't know if I want to see it, but I definitely know I see good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and the trailer itself, I promise you, if you have a heart or a semblance of a heart, you will tear up at least watching the trailer for this A24 film called Tuesday. I think it just came out in theaters with starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and just the simple premise that Julia Louis-Dreyfus plays Zora, who lives with her terminally ill daughter Tuesday. One day, death in the form of a size-altering macaw arrives and sends Zora and Tuesday on an emotional journey about life, love, and death. It's a giant macaw.
A macaw, you say?
A giant, deep-voiced macaw that is the symbol of death. Yes.
Oh wow.
Hey, Julia.
That's what it is. You gonna die.
Okay, Reid, we need to see that. We need to see that.
We do. I'm telling you, watch the trailer. Just watch the teaser, and it will make you tear up. Like I surprisingly teared up, and it made my mom cry. Like the trailer is wild. The trailer is wild.
We're gonna go into that, Reid. You and I, like Barbie and Oppenheimer. You can be the macaw, and I'll dress up as Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Hell yes.
Interesting.
Oh, Travis, thank you for your plate here. Brad, your time. Hit us with dessert.
All right. For dessert, we got a tasty treat here. This has been probably one of the biggest things in the music industry to happen in a long time, but especially the story of the spring. You guys have been following any kind of music at all, hip hop especially, you'll know the crazy beef that went down between, I guess you could say, almost the whole rap industry, but mainly Drake basically thinking he could actually take on everybody, calling out some big names, Kendrick Lamar, of course, being the main one I'm speaking of here, the Kendrick and Drake beef, but really just the whole beef saga in general. I just think it's crazy how, like the bucket hat, it's just crazy how this thing accelerated. Like the last big beef I remember was kind of you could say the Drake and Pusha T one, but really like the Eminem and MGK one. And like we saw the fallout of that, basically Eminem beat MGK so bad he had to switch genres completely and like dye his hair pink and just paint his, like he just went completely different, than his whole image switched up. And Drake, we've been saying it. We did the last podcast, or at least the last one that we were on, was talking about our top favorite rap artists, and Drake was pretty high up there for me. At one point, I listened to a lot of his music, but man, it's getting harder and harder these days. I feel like he's just been on a steady decline with almost everything that he does. We got changing hats over here. Is that Chance the Rapper?
Man of many hats, I tell you.
Oh, he was 3. Or
Man of many hats. Yeah, no, this is a ALS fundraiser hat.
Nice.
Very nice.
But yeah, so basically just want to go through the timeline, because this has been like one of the craziest moments. I remember this was back in early May of just, it reached a fever pitch where literally even almost my parents and people who like I would have never expected to be hearing about this are hearing about it, because it was just so crazy the amount of press and that this was getting. It was just like some of the biggest superstars going back and forth in rapid succession with absolutely foul lyrics, like going at each other's livelihood, their career, trying to put them away in prison. Like these are crazy lyrics. This is not like a game. This is not a game. This is actually like real deep hatred. And so it started off back, I guess I got a timeline pulled up here. I guess all the way back in October 2023 when Drake and J. Cole collaborated on First Person Shooter on Drake's For All the Dogs album. Is really when this whole thing kind of started. And J. Cole plays an interesting like piece in this whole equation because he kind of initiated it. He was the spark that was sort of like egging these two guys on. And then when shit got serious, he like back and was like, whoa, I don't want no part of this anymore.
I was just kidding.
All the memes of people saying like J. Cole is probably somewhere like, you know, dancing through a meadow right now, smelling flowers. Like he's just so happy to like not be a part of this beef because like it just went nuclear. But basically on that song, he calls out the big three of rap. He's calls, you know, Drake, Kendrick, and himself claiming to be the big three. And it took a little bit of time, about 6 months or so, till the spring and March when Kendrick responded on actually a fire track with Metro Boomin and Featured, Like That, seriously one of the catchiest songs of the year by far, in my opinion, where he says, fuck the big three, it's just Big Me. So clearly, like, they know where they stand, you know? And it's weird because, you know, of course, Kendrick and Drake have collaborated way back in the day on
Poetic Justice.
Thank you, Poetic Justice. Like,
one of my
great
favorites.
song. Clearly, they have, you know, some good chemistry together. Like, but that was, I don't know, over a decade ago at this point, and they have not done really anything together. So you're kind of wondering, like, why are having the two biggest kind of artists in the game? Why aren't they collaborating at least a little bit? And they seem like they just don't really like each other, or clearly that's the case. So okay, that song is blown up. That's March, cool. So now we fast forward to April 5th. And this is when J. Cole decides, you know what? I am going to go at this man's Kendrick right here. I'm going to release 7-Minute Drill, which is quote unquote his warning shots to the rapper. And it did not go well for him. Let's just say that.
Can I just interject
Yes.
when J. Cole's big line in that was it was something about your first one was gas, your second shit was mid, it had them all fooled. He's talking about To Pimp a Butterfly.
He's calling it boring mid. Like, what? Crazy.
Complete misfire, Brad. Complete misfire.
I know. Yeah, he was talking out the side of his mouth for sure. And I think everyone agreed because people were just flaming him. And I think it was 2 days later, he apologized for it basically and backed out. And that was honestly the best thing he could have done in that situation because he realized he messed up. He realized, like, you know, he's not on that same level as Kendrick. He's not in that big three. He's not on that echelon lyrically or story-wise. He's just not there. He's great. You know, he's really great, obviously, but he's not Kendrick level. So he backs out, and that's kind of where he's going to be watching from the sideline for the remaining time of this whole saga. So, of course, Drake being Drake, you know, loves his attention, loves the drama, loves trying to pull all the strings and play God, if you will, because he thinks he's just at the top of the totem pole. You know, that's what he's always raps about. He's the sixth God, supposedly, right? And first of all, these guys could not be more different than each other. Drake, you know, with his upbringing, you know, Silver Spoon, from what a lot of people say, you know, TV show versus Kendrick's upbringing, like West Coast, Compton, you know, hard life. He raps about it in his, you know, in his earlier albums. Good Kid, Mad City is a good instance of that. They could not be different. And I think Kendrick, he's got that dog in him, where Drake just may pose that, you know, for all the dogs, he may pose that, but in reality, like, they know that he's not, when push comes to shove, you know.
He's a pup.
Exactly. We've seen it play out. Pusha T was one that, you know, exposed him really good on that. So Drake comes out with push-ups, you know, kind of officially like firing back, if you will, at Kendrick's little, you know, it's just Big Me kind of a thing. And basically calls him short a bunch of times in various different ways. And does the whole, like, you know, Taylor Swift collaborate, you know, getting like your splits and all this kind of stuff. And he also kind of takes shots at Rick Ross and The Weeknd and these other artists. So it's not a direct approach. At this point, he's saying, you know what, the whole industry, come at me. Like, you know, I want all the smoke. I'll take you all at once, like 20v1, whatever it takes. Not sure why exactly he did this. Maybe I don't know, maybe he just can't put out good albums these days. He's like, maybe I can just do some great diss tracks and get my streaming numbers up. Who knows? But for whatever reason, he did. And we didn't hear anything from Kendrick for a little bit. So Drake releases that. It's mid-April at this time. Of course, Ross claps back with Champagne Moments. You know, a few other artists will kind of throw their hat in. I think there was like a Chris Brown and one of the Migos thing that happened. There was this all like, for whatever reason, it just felt like, damn, the rap industry just is coming alive again. There's all these little side battles and beefs coming out, and it was kind of entertaining. Like day after day, you almost would wake up and look forward, like, okay, who's dropping next? You know, it felt like something was really like building up there. Again, Drake comes out with, I think, probably one of his best out of this whole saga with Tailor-Made Freestyle, which it was interesting because he used these AI voices on that song, which was a pretty unique thing, you know, and it's ironic because a lot of times people are thinking that Drake's songs are actually AI because of how good it's getting and how good you can basically make any artist do any type of song with AI now. And what he had done was he basically used, you know, some of J. Cole's idols like Snoop, Tupac, like these West Coast rappers, and using their ghosts as AI to like battle against himself, telling him what he should have, like all this crazy stuff. So definitely a cool, like an interesting concept, a cool move. People are in or out on if it was actually, you know, good or not. But I think the concept itself is really cool. And, you know, as at this point, really Kendrick has not directly addressed it yet. And Drake is just piling on top. So it's like, okay, you know, you're going to poke a sleeping bear. Like, when is it going to wake up and just rip your face off type of a thing? And we've pretty quickly found out when that was going to happen. So that happened in April 19th when Drake released that. He's basically egging him on, like, please come at me, you know? And sure enough, about 11 days later, April 30th, Kendrick Lamar finally responds with his 6-minute diss track called Euphoria. Now, I remember I was in the gym in the morning that this came out, and I was legitimately like shocked of how many times I was going to need to re-listen to it, because there was so many bars, so many double, triple entendres in there that I legitimately had to go right to Rap Genius and just pour over the lyrics, because this was just line after line after line after line, like really solid beat. You know, is just dismantling Drake lyrically and really kind of like getting back into the lyrical style of rap that I feel like is kind of a little bit down these days. There's not too many artists that are really going at that high level of vocabulary, of entendres, of just manipulating words and flows. And that's the thing that, you know, no matter how much Drake raps, I cannot get the monotone style of his flow out of my head. And hearing it side to side with Kendrick, with how Kendrick goes up and down with his voice, and he's got the squeaky and he's got like the raspy, and it's just so colorful and like vibrant, and you just I get way more hyped listening to a Kendrick song just on his lyrics versus a Drake song where I might get hyped because of the beats, because the production is really great, but Drake just comes off very monotone even when he's trying to actually be hyped. It's just not really his bag, which is okay. So he drops that, and the world is just like, that set a streaming, I believe, record I was reading here. May 2nd, Euphoria jumped from number 19 to number 1 on daily US Spotify. So people are really taking note, like, okay, this is an official beef now. They're going back and forth. And this is where it gets crazy, because May 3rd rolls around, which is a day that I think will live in infamy. It's crazy because we think it's at a fever pitch at this point. We're like, oh my gosh, like Kendrick is finally dropping mute. You know, like they're going back and forth. These are the two biggest in the game. We've never seen really anything like this, or if so, it's been a long time. And May 3rd comes out, and Drake drops Family Matters as a response to Euphoria. And he basically goes after Kendrick's longtime partner, Whitney, and suggests infidelity in their relationship, along with a whole other things like allegations of, you know, abuse as well. Some like pretty big stuff. Like, this is no longer just you know, we're gonna make fun of you, you're short, you know, just kind of like light stuff like that. This is actually like allegations where on a global stage like that, with your audience, with millions of people listening, like people are gonna do some digging and try and figure out if this is real or not. So this is like really adding a lot of stress to the other person's life if you're doing these allegations against them, basically. So that comes out, and Drake is living high only for 1 hour, because literally 1 hour freaking later, Kendrick had some shit on deck. He was waiting for Drake to drop, and he just completely steals the show and sucks the life out of Family Matters, which opened up really solid. Like, a lot of people were giving it praise. I think that was the one where he was crushing the car in the music video, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it was really cool. But then Kendrick comes. It's so back and forth. It's so easy to get confused. He comes back with Meet the Grams, still one of the most chilling song. Like, I don't even want to call it a song. It's just like song feels too happy of a word for what that was. Almost like a nightmarish, just annihilation.
Yeah, that's the word. A eulogy, perhaps.
A eulogy. It is this slow piano beat where Kendrick is legitimately addressing Adonis, Sandra and Drake's dad, whose name I can't remember at the top of my head right now. Literally, he's addressing them one by one, like talking directly to them, basically saying to Adonis, like, your dad ain't shit. He's a deadbeat. Like, I wish your grandpa would have wore condoms, like all this crazy stuff. And then he goes to like his mom and he's just like, your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think people like him should die. Like when he said that, he was just like, you could feel the energy in his voice. He growled that word out. And then he's like comparing him to like Weinstein and how they should get, this crazy stuff, and like basically calling him a pedo, like for the first time, like on a global stage, which there's obviously been lots of allegations against Drake. People have been saying that for years, right? And there's evidence of it too.
Specifically, Brad and I we've been saying that for years.
On this show. You all have been
on this show.
Exactly. But now we got Kendrick saying it too. And it's like, it just gets crazier and crazier. The more it goes in, the more filthy, the more raw that is. Like my mouth was open the whole time, just in shock of how I've never heard anything like that before. It was just insane. You're going after you're trying to take away their freedom, not just ruin their career is one thing, but you're literally trying to put them behind bars. You want to see them 6 feet under. Like that is, I just don't think the music industry has really seen anything quite like that. Pretty crazy. And the fact that the timing was the craziest part of, like, the song itself is insane, but the timing is even crazier, that he dropped that within like an hour of Drake dropping Family Matters. And at this point, the world is literally on fire. Every single YouTuber out there is like doing these crazy reactions. They're like up on coffee all night because it's just like one after another. People are trying to like dissect, and there's so many bars in there that it just takes a while to like dissect and figure out exactly what is being said. And that's a point where like even, my coworkers, people that just don't listen to this type of music at all, were like, knew what was going on because it was on every social media. It had the world by storm on that May 3rd, May 4th time period. And to top it off, the nail in the coffin, which people are still dancing to these days on social media, it's about over a month later, Kendrick drops the 3-piece combo. He hits him with the Not Like Us diss track. He shows that he not only has the bars of Euphoria, he has the sinister, raw, just psycho kind of crazy energy of the one I just talked about. And then he comes out with Not Like Us, who shows he beats Drake at his own game. He out-Drakes Drake from the hit numbers, because that's what Drake would say, oh, I still have better numbers. No, you don't. Not Like Us is absolutely killing it right now. It is so catchy. He basically is dancing on Drake's grave at this point. So what? Like, so many just crazy, like, shows that he can still make hits. He still has the hit-making potential, and it's just crazy. It's crazy. And at this point, it's just a victory lap. I think everyone knows, like, Drake is cooked at that point. Like, I will say everyone but my barber, if you're listening to this, he's a big Drake fan. I even bought him a hat when we went to the Drake concert in DC last year. And I was even talking to him when I got my haircut a few weeks ago. And he was on some like, I still think Drake won type of thing. And I knew right from that moment, I wasn't even going to continue that conversation because it just wouldn't have gone anyway. So sorry if you're listening, Byron, but I just think Kendrick got him this time. But yeah, at that point, a victory lap. The next day, May 5th, Metro, who Drake has also been dissing, even though he's made like half of his beats practically at this point. He drops BBL Drizzy, which is just adding injury to insult at that point. Like, again, you have Not Like Us blowing up and BBL Drizzy blowing up, like two of these great like summer kind of bangers right here. And Drake is just like shit. Like, I can't imagine what he must have been feeling. Like, I don't know. That's just wild to me. But yeah, people are playing those in the clubs, and even Kendrick is, I believe, a day or two after he dropped Not Like Us, I'm pretty sure he did something on social media where he took away, or he said he wasn't going to copyright claim or strike any of those videos. So they're basically free use, which only elevated people to want to react to it more, which kind of boosted the numbers even higher, which is just a really good move on his part with a possible album coming on the way maybe this year. Who knows? But yeah, it was just a crazy time. Before, let's see here. Oh yeah, there was a security guard that was shot outside Drake's Toronto estate, the embassy, on May 7th. So now we're thinking like, oh shit, like people are coming after this guy. Like he's got to really go underground and like hide, you know? And what is Drake's response to all this? He comes back like, you know, you have to say something like he's calling you a pedophile. Basically, I don't know if I can say that word on here, but he's saying like, I want you to die. Like I'm talking directly to your son. You have a secret daughter. How could I forget that? He said that in Meet the Grams as well. Not sure if that's been confirmed or not, but like these crazy things. And what is Drake going to do to respond besides write little Instagram captions? Like, no, we need an actual song here. He comes back with the Heart Part 6, which I actually can't really remember that much, to be honest. Yeah, it's a riff on Kendrick Lamar's The Heart series. So he kind of, you know, in a way, make sure that Kendrick can't continue that series by using that same song, but he could anyway, whatever. I don't remember. I think that was basically his white flag of surrender. I would have to even listen back to that, but he kind of bowed out, if I remember correctly, and was like, I'm done with this shit. Like, oh, I'm going to be on a, you know, whatever. He didn't really even address most of the stuff, I feel like.
The way I remember it was the most memorable thing from the Heart Part 6 was that it basically seemed like he was defending himself on trial from the pedophilia accusations. And
Yes.
and he mentioned something about Millie Bobby Brown, and everybody was like, well, he didn't say anything about Millie Bobby Brown.
Exactly. Guilty conscience right there.
The best, he said, you'll never see Drake on a sex offenders list. Of course you won't, Aubrey. Your name is Aubrey.
Right. Exactly.
Oh man.
It's crazy. And he then releases the feature with Sexy Red. I can't remember what it is, but like that did not obviously go over very well at all. And then he decides, okay, how do I make this better? Let me do some kind of crazy whack, like, Hey There Delilah cover with my stupid Jamaican patois like accent that I try and do. And it just is awful. Literally one of the worst things I've ever seen attached to his name, like from a sound standpoint. It hurt my ears.
I haven't even heard of this.
Dude,
you haven't heard of Wagwan Delilah?
Wagwan, yeah. It is 10 times worse than the Sexy Red one, in my opinion. It is awful. It doesn't even
atrocious, man.
And that pretty much brings us up to today, where Kendrick has not really done too much publicly. He kind of left it on that note. Obviously, it's like, I think he kind of threw the gauntlet down and was like, literally anybody in the rap game can come challenge me right now. And this is what's going to happen. Like, I just dismantled Drake in front of everyone's eyes, and it was easy to me. So yeah. And Drake is meanwhile scrambling to, you know, he's constantly trying to take little jabs back on social media and just, you know, making these awful songs. Like, I just don't know what's going on. I think he broke him. He really just broke him. It's crazy to me. I mean, me and Travis have both seen Drake and Kendrick separately in concert live before. And while Drake is a great performer, Kendrick's, I just felt more energy, felt more attached to, I guess, looking back at it. Even from the early days, you know, I started listening to them both around the same time, early 2010s, different styles. But Kendrick over the long run has proven to be, I think, I'm just that extra level, that extra gear. I don't know. I think that's basically all I have to say. That was my whole side. I just want to go through the craziness of this whole, you know, rap beef. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like this quite again, or for a long time maybe, where they're just, this is because social media, like, you know, back in with Tupac, Biggie, like social media was not like it was. Like it could not spread this quickly. Like you almost had to wait for the CDs and the albums to come out to be able to listen to see what they said. It's not like you can hear it instantly and fact check it instantly and dig up the skeletons in the closet instantly. It's just a whole new ball game. And this is really like the first of this new generation of rap beef that is going to be more prevalent going forward, I think.
This is a round of applause to Brad for breaking down a hard ass chronological order.
Man, wow. Crazy timeline.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Reid, what were some of your, because I know you and I were also, Brad and I were very invested, but I know you were also quite invested, as everyone was. What are some of your favorite lines from the beef? I have to give it to Drake, because I'll tell you mine. Family matters, divorced of context, right? If he had just done that and Kendrick had let him breathe for a second, it would have been seen, I think, as a monumental diss track. I've listened to it so many times since then. When he says, "Oh shit, maybe I'm Prince and you're actually Mike." Michael would pray that his features would change so people would think that he's actually white.
Yeah.
Oh, Top Dog would give you Top Dog would make you do features for change to get on the mic and then rap for the whites, something like that. I was like, oh my god, he did the triple switch flow, like, and he brought some really good allegations against Kendrick Lamar. I'd never heard of the domestic abuse, but when he says, "Is it self-defense when you're hitting your girl? Is it self-defense because she's bigger than you?"
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like that's genuinely good. But then Kendrick was like, "Fuck your whole family. I hope you die."
Right. Talking about keep your little sister from him. Talking like,
right.
You got pedos. You got predators on your OV ho squad. Like, and you keep your child around them.
And like, that's the whole thing with it, right? Like I think you brought up a good point about Drake's lyrics. Like Drake had great shots. Family Matters, I think legit could have been a song of the summer. It could have been a song of the summer, and it just got destroyed. It just happened to be against the wrong person. And I think you can get a socio-political argument going about the state of the rap industry and the music industry as a whole, and how, you're using information that is widely sensitive and, an issue in terms of potential alleged pedophilia and, and beating your wife, domestic abuse, and using it as entertainment fodder and rap warfare, right? Instead of just like, if you knew this, come out with it, go out to somebody, bring this out to journalistic resources who can investigate it more. But putting aside the socio-political argument, it was entertaining as hell. And it was It was overwhelming like crazy. It was overwhelming. And it's like I said, Family Matters could have been Song of the Summer, but then Not Like Us came out. And I go back to even Euphoria when you're asking me about the lyrics. I think one of my favorites was from Euphoria, where he said, "You're not a rap artist, you a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collection." Huge cultural attack right there with FUBU. And if you know, you know. But then with Not Like Us, I think and especially as a sports show, this is one that really stuck out, where he just simply says, I'm finna pass on this body. I'm John Stockton. So
can you explain that to me?
With that, John Stockton was a teammate on the Utah Jazz of Karl Malone. In this, he's basically calling Drake Karl Malone. Karl Malone was a great basketball player, huge star in the NBA. Karl Malone's legacy now is not only that of an asshole, but I'll read this off of Rolling Stone, where the Rolling Stone did an article last year where the NBA shouldn't have creepy Karl Malone at the All-Star game. In 1983, a then 20-year-old Malone impregnated his, quote, girlfriend, 13-year-old Gloria Bell, while playing basketball at Louisiana Tech University. According to Bell, her family declined to press statutory rape charges because of his impending NBA fortune, except he then denied paternity of their child, Demetrius Bell. It's been widely known, so he's calling Drake in that line Karl Malone and comparing him there. It's another pedophilia shot. So it's what to me was, and I agree with Brad on the fact that I don't know how Drake comes back from this, just in general. You're not the war's over, right? Like the beef is done. You're not winning this ever. Going back to the sympathizer would close the loop, buddy. You're the USA. You can declare a victory in whatever way you want possible, but you didn't win this shit.
Didn't win.
You didn't win this shit, and you went in with bad intentions. Like, this is this isn't working out for you. And Not Like Us was not only a banger, it's not only becoming the song of the summer here.
Yep.
It is one of the most diabolical and genius releases that I have ever seen. To not only, like, you don't let him even get a reply in to this previous song. You give it 24 hours and you release it on Saturday, May 4th around 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you know this is Cinco de Mayo weekend. People are going to be out, and you just put out this song, a club banger, right before, like right in the evening, so you can pregame to it. You know the DJs are going to be blasting it all night.
Crazy.
You put in shit, like, it's not only got deep political, like, it's a song that not only rips the hell out of Drake, but it could rip the hell out of a lot of people and a lot of different culture vulture types. And you're putting deep lyrical notes in this, but you're also putting in just club lines. You got stepping lines. You got OV ho. You got the
say OV ho.
Yeah, you have the crowds. So you have crowds at the club that night chanting OV ho. And
crazy.
Like, what he did with that song was make it cool again. I would say make it cool again to clown Drake and to make fun of Drake and to rip him, because for the longest time, nobody, like, you see all these rappers who wanted to come out of wherever to take shots at him. And that was the only period of time where I was kind of on Drake's side. I was like, oh, okay, everybody wants to jump on this. Everybody wants to come at him, you know, from every angle, because like we were saying, his last couple albums have not been great. They haven't been good. You've had like a couple of good songs on there, but overall he peaked. He peaked and the bubbles burst, and now the attackers are coming. Everybody feels a little more safe to attack him. He's not this king that can destroy you with words or destroy your reputation and blacklist you. He's vulnerable. So everybody came after him, and I was like, all right, you know what? Ignore, like, who gives a shit about, you know, if Rick Ross is coming at you, fuck it. The motherfucker's got cows to tend to. He'll be, leave him alone. You don't need to worry about him. But when you just keep going after Kendrick and you're picking this fight, you have to be ready for the consequence. He is the lyrical king of this era. I don't care what other people say. You can have arguments for a couple other rappers, but nobody touches Kendrick in terms of, I think he is pure hip hop. I don't think he is rap. I don't think I don't think he cares about the charts. If it charts, cool. But this dude is for hip hop. This dude is the next in a line of, you know, of your Nas, of all these dudes who came before him, and he embodies their spirit. And look, man, like, that's not the war to go in. Like, Pusha T was one thing. This isn't the person. This is a king. This is a king in music, not just in hip hop. And you went for him, and it didn't work. And I think Not Like Us was a career, not ending, but a career altering song.
Good way of putting
against Drake.
There's a tick in Drake's timeline. There's a tick for the Pusha T diss. There's a tick now for the Not Like that is a defining moment of Drake's career, whether he likes it or not.
Yes.
It just is.
Like, I just saw, it was just a random clip from Degrassi of Drake saying, like, something like, that's a minor inconvenience, and then, like, immediately just hits A minor.
Right. Yeah. So many little moments in that song.
And I love looking at how deep this beef went. Like, because, I mean, even past the initial timeline, like, you can go back to, like, different sneak disses in 2015. There's a whole Wikipedia page. That's how big this is. It even throws in Obama, where even Obama got a question. Barack Obama, while he was president, got a question asking him who would win in a Drake or Kendrick Lamar rap battle. Obama responded, "Gotta go with Drake." Or
Drake all the way.
I gotta go with Kendrick. I think Drake is an outstanding entertainer, but Kendrick, his lyrics, "To Pimp a Butterfly" was outstanding. Best album, I think, last
Michelle
year.
loves it.
Yeah. And then 15 days later, Drake dissed Obama and said, tell Obama that my verses are just like the whips that he in. They bulletproof.
They bulletproof. That's right. Oh, I forgot about
Get the fuck out of here.
I didn't hear about that. Okay.
You're coming after the black press. Get the fuck out of here. Shut up, Drake.
Shut up, Drake.
Shut up. Just shut up. And it's not over. Like, we're recording just for, behind the scenes. We're recording on June 18th. Tomorrow is going to be Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Kendrick is doing a one-off concert at the Forum in Inglewood called Pop Out Ken and Friends. It's going to be a live stream concert on Amazon. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. I think 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it's going to be his first big public outing and his first big public performance since all of this went down. So you can only imagine what's going to happen during this. Or if you wonder if he'll address it. I'm sure he has to. You have to perform Not Like Us. And
be crazy.
It's going to be insane. So this is just going to be, I'm sure, another dial on the timeline. There were rumors that like Drake was going to be at the BET Awards this year. When he doesn't show up at any other point, this might be the time that he's trying to get back into the culture. But in the commercials, they're playing Not Like Us. So,
I love it.
It's incredible.
I heard also that there is apparently another big name in the music industry, in the rap sphere, that is on some Kendrick type shit that does not like Drake at all and might even be plotting to drop something. And people have been speculating that it could be Travis Scott. Because this is someone apparently that Drake has collaborated with in the past who does not like Drake at all and might seize this opportunity. But that was from DJ Academics or something like that. Some source that is, maybe not the most reliable. But I think we could start seeing some other stuff happening June, July, August. I don't think it's over for good. I think we're in a lull, but I think it could pick back up.
I wonder who the funniest person would be. Like who would be the funniest random name that worked with Drake?
Yeah,
that is then
did like a one-off or something.
Yeah,
Paul McCartney.
Listen, I think if Kendrick debuts Not Like Us at this Juneteenth thing with a Millie Bobby Brown feature,
God, brutal.
Put Millie
I think
Bobby
Drake
Brown in the
has
video.
to retire.
Oh my God. You have to.
Oh yeah.
You gotta.
He's gotta go outside.
One quick little note that I want to address too that we didn't talk about is how effective Kendrick also was. And Pusha T was great at this too when he did the Story of Adidon single release and it had Drake in blackface. The cover arts that Kendrick would come out with. Euphoria really wasn't too much. But then 616 in LA showed a glove. We were like, oh, what's that glove? Is this an OJ illusion? And then Family Matters, of course, didn't have any significance on the cover art. Drake didn't take the time. Meet the Grams. One of the most diabolical things about Meet the Grams isn't even in the song. It's a picture of Drake's fucking Ozempic bottle, his prescription.
All this stolen shit.
There was a mole. There was a mole in the camp.
There is a mole in OVO that is feeding Kendrick this information and snapped a picture of all of Drake's things. They had to take it down because it was a HIPAA violation.
Right. That's crazy, bro. And that goes in to my favorite line of the whole thing from Euphoria real quick is let your core audience stomach that. Didn't tell them where you get your abs from. And it's like headshot for the year. You better walk around like Daft Punk. Just like he's like, you're saying you better hide your face just like they do in their robot helmets, or you got to use it for fucking protection because I'm going for your head with a headshot for the year. Come on, let your core audience stomach that and tell them.
Let them know who you are.
Bro. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think another underrated line that I keep forgetting about, but every time I hear it, it's just a foul line of Kendrick saying to Drake, I believe when you stand next to Sexy Red, you see two bad bitches.
And you see two bad bitches.
That's
my pop ass.
Foul.
Yep.
And this is why crazy. Like people clowned him at first. My guy, J. Cole, I got the Dreamville hoodie. I love J. Cole. Love him. One of my favorites. And people clowned him for apologizing to Kendrick before anything could happen, and people clowned him for it. And then you saw exactly what Cole saw. He knows this motherfucker.
Yeah, that's so Raven
was going to happen, right? He's and
I wonder
he got
if Kendrick called up Cole and was like, "Bro, you better back out. I'm giving you your chance now. Do it, or else you're going to end up the same way that Drake is about to end up."
My brother in Christ, you're going to want to stop.
I heard Schoolboy Q warned him. Actually, Q called Cole and was like, "I promise you don't want any of this."
And he's just chilling. He was just chilling in Cancun, watching all of this shit go down. Just watching nuclear war from his 323 bunker.
Right.
Crazy, man.
Oh my God. Thank you guys for this delicious potluck dinner. Oh my goodness. Hey, we've gone a little over time, so I think we'll cut all the extra, but I think we had an incredible amount already, so I'm just going to do the outro here. Okay. This has been a fantastic potluck. I'm glad that we've mostly finally got to talk not only about all the great TV and the great film of this year so far, but the great music. This rap beef, I think, is just a part of what I think has been an incredible year in music. And that's something that we can dive into another moment. Shout out to Billie Eilish. I've been fucking jamming Billie Eilish music for days now.
Yeah.
And just going around the whole media zeitgeist, it's been awesome. And finally getting to talk about it with these two wonderful fellas right here. Travis Bryam, Mr. B, thank you for being here, my guy. Bradley Harrison, the man of many ghosts.
Yep.
Thank you for being around. Oh my goodness. Guys, check out the 323 Network on YouTube. You'll be able to see all of these handsome faces in that incredibly crystal clear high definition Brad's got going down there. The 323 Network on YouTube. Subscribe. Keep giving us love and support at 323 Reid, at 323 REID, all the social medias. You can get these top fives and great clips way ahead of time. Again, we're recording before Juneteenth. We might have to do an emergency podcast. We might have to do an emergency show at some point. Post the pop out. We'll get more into that, I promise, at a later time. For now, though, thank you for being with the show. Thank you for always supporting us. Happy 4 years to all of us. And thank you all to all the people who've contributed and made this possible. Stay safe, everybody. That's a wrap.
Awesome.
Well done, everybody. Well done.
That was fun.
That was making me hard all over again, just thinking about the rat beef.
Oh, God. Okay. Wow.
That shit was so. Remember?
I hadn't even hit end recording yet.
Perfect. Super. Come on.
Please don't air that. Please don't air that.
We'll make that an intro.
Yeah. Use that as a little soundbite for the intro tease. Come on. It's going to be hard all over again. It's perfect.